K and Kev starts now.
Season 2, episode 10. We made it. It is Christina K on the East Coast, Kevin Pavase on the West Coast. You have missed some crazy weather here, Kevin. I don't know how it's been in California, but it has been like tropical storm after tropical storm, tornado. It has been a mess.
Christina, I love how we briefly talked before recording, and not once did I ask you, like, are you okay? How's your family? Like, I'm such a jerk. Jesus, you guys
briefly talked 20 minutes later.
Yeah, we had a brief chat. All right, well, I was trying to lie to the people, but now they know we were talking forever, and I'm an insensitive jerk who didn't even ask.
No.
How's that freaking storm? And I'm looking
brutal.
up, and I'm seeing clips of Jersey flooding, clips of Brooklyn flooding.
Did you see the one in the city where the rat was like doing strokes in the water during the subway? And
I must say,
crazy.
Most of the content was concerning. The rat doing like backstrokes was hilarious.
Yeah,
I was like,
right?
That's the most funny a rat has ever looked to me, because usually when they're dry, they freak me the hell out. But like, not there. That was nice. Yeah.
Same.
How is your family? How's the house?
We're good.
How's everything?
The first tropical storm wasn't terrible, and that was the one that they were saying was going to be a hurricane. I think that was Freddie or whatever his name is. No, it wasn't Freddie. It was like Henri. That's what it was.
I like Freddie better. Hurricane Freddie. He sounds like a jerk.
I'm gonna call the rat that was doing the backstroke. He could be Freddie.
Yeah, he's Freddie. Yep.
That one wasn't bad. It was this last one, Ida. That it was so brutal. The thunder. My apartment's on the second floor. The thunder shook my bed every time it went off. My bed like vibrated. But
so scary.
My parents' basement ended up flooding, and it's so bad.
I'm so sorry.
It's been a week. And my sister does like her job out of that basement. So it's, oh God, it's so bad. And like this is the third time our basement has flooded, but we weren't expecting this because after the second time it flooded, we put in more drains outside, but the ground just could not handle all that water that it just came in the basement. And it wasn't like, it was just like water. It was like mud but you know what? Compared to other parts of the country, we are very lucky with what we got. But so anyone who's going through the same thing as us, you are in our thoughts, and we're sending you positive vibes.
Yeah, absolutely. We feel for you guys for sure. That was the scariest thing. You're talking about basements. I feel like they were the most susceptible to damages and things of that nature. Honestly, anytime a storm like this occurs, the basements are at risk. And particularly in the city, where it seems like they were hit hardest in portions of Jersey and whatnot. And you heard about people's underground, or just like basement apartments, basement homes just being completely destroyed.
So scary.
People lost their lives. Like it was frightening. So we just all of you are in our thoughts. To anyone watching, and I just. And it's bizarre. Like Mother Nature is bizarre to me, because you're dealing with those storms, and then the very next day in New York, I heard portions of New York had like the most gorgeous looking day. Like,
yes, it's been ever since
the
Ida. It's been. I mean, today is a gloomy day, but like yesterday was the definition of beautiful. You look up a beautiful day in the dictionary, it was yesterday. So we've had some really lovely days. But Mother Nature, and then I don't know if it's in California, but out on the West Coast, there's been a lot of fires lately, right?
Yeah. Fortunately, none by me. I mean, we've had, and we've mentioned it on the podcast before, where there's been times where my area here in Los Angeles, greater Los Angeles, I'm in Sherman Oaks myself, just over the hill of LA. But like, we've been hit by a lot of fires. None recently within this area, but I know this is such an enormous state that, we're dealing with the opposite issue. There's torrential downpours, storms on the East Coast. And then over here, we're not getting any rain. I cannot tell you the last time it rained. I can't tell you. And honestly, it's concerning on both ends, because you just need a little bit of everything. You need a little rain, and then you need sunshine, and that's a requirement, just for these environments, but like, for nature in general. But we don't get any. It's just like everything is like brown patches. It's like nothing's green here anymore. It sucks. Yeah.
Gosh,
that's how it goes.
It's so scary. But it seems like you've had some nice days, because I got a text from Kevin the other day saying it's an Anaheim day today. So I'm like, he's going to Disneyland. I'm so proud of him. And then he's like, the next text is like, should have prefaced it going to the Yankee game, not Disneyland. I was like, come on, man.
What a tease I am. I give her this like Disney setup. She's like, oh my God, he's going. He's finally years of not going to Disneyland. And I'm like, no, just the Yankees are in town. Listen, we got the hats lined up here. We got double Yankee hats. Yeah.
But I was like, oh my gosh, he's going out, because I think we just talked about this in the last podcast, where it was like, you haven't been to Disneyland and you're like, I'll get
Mhm.
there, I'll get there. So I feel
Nope.
like he's getting there. Nope, he's
Nope.
not.
I go to Anaheim. I went by myself. Christina, I couldn't give my ticket away. I felt like I had no friends. I was like, I had like 3 friends who had to back out last second. I was
Oh my
bummed you
God,
weren't here because you could have gone to the game with me.
Similar just happened to me. We'll put a pin in that, but I totally feel you. Like you get excited, you make plans with friends,
Yeah.
especially for something like the Yankees.
Yeah.
And then they bail on you and you're like, wait, am I doing this by myself?
And I did it by myself because I had to do it by myself. Because
How was that?
The Yankees come out to Anaheim each and every year. Obviously, you play every team on the schedule. You make a West Coast trip. You play the team in Oakland. You play the team in Anaheim, whatnot. And so they come out and they face the Angels. And every year they come out, I'm like, I'm going to go to the game. I'm going to go to the game. I'm going to go to the game. And then I never go to the game. And I'm like,
yeah,
I gotta go. I gotta support the troops. I gotta support my squad, my team of 20 plus years of my life. So I go and 3 friends had to back out. It was very unfortunate. I felt like a loser, but no, it was fine. Because I'm going to tell you, I had a great time. I had a great time with myself and I. We had a wonderful time. I went in, I got in quick. I got into my seat quick, got out of my seat quick at the end of the game, got in my car, got home. And it was, it's about a 40-minute ride for me from here to Angel Stadium, which is right by Disneyland.
Yes, it is.
Right down the road from Disneyland. And I go there and I sit in my favorite section that I've sat in before with my brother when he was out here for a West Coast trip. And we hung out, we went to an Angels game, and I'm sitting in the right field stands. And I get to watch Garrett Cole. I know you don't care about the baseball particulars, but I'm going to touch on them. I'm going to touch on them.
The team has changed so much over the years. Like in my head, it's still like Tino Martinez, Scott Brocious, like it's still all of them. Derek Jeter,
not anymore.
even, but it's so different now.
No, I think Tino Martinez is in the nursing home down the road now. That's how long it's been. I'm kidding. I'm really exaggerating. Tino Martinez is not that old. Paul O'Neill on the other hand.
Well, yeah, he's a coach for the Marlins.
He was a coach.
I know things.
He got fired. You do know things. I'm very proud
I
of
didn't
you.
know he got fired.
You've kept up with your Tino Martinez news. Well, that's for another day.
He got fired.
We'll talk Tino. Yeah, I know.
I'm literally writing.
I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. We'll look it up. But I don't believe he's a coach any longer. Anyhow, I go to the game. It is a brand new team. It's a different team. Now it's led by Aaron Judge, who's and Giancarlo Stanton, who are 2 tall guys who are like superheroes. They look like they could be in the Marvel universe. They could be They could be in Guardians. That's how huge jack these guys are, and they hit lots of home runs. So I go to the game. Aaron Judge, star of the team, hits a home run, and then our pitcher Garrett Cole, our ace pitcher, gets on the mound. He strikes out 15 batters. 15 batters.
Dude.
And we win the game, and it was dope. And I got to watch him pitch a masterpiece. I got to watch Aaron Judge, the fan favorite, hit a home run, and it was a beautiful thing. So I don't want to say I brought them luck, but they had lost the prior 2 games before I got to town, and then they win to end the series. Yeah,
maybe it wasn't just you. Maybe it was like a solo you, like just because you went by yourself.
I think so. And
what? We got to make this worth it for Kevin. We got to win. We got to give him a game to watch.
Right. And the other thing, I agree. And I just love people watching. And when you're by yourself, you're not interacting with anyone. So I have no choice but I'm locked in on the game, obviously, but I'm people watching. I had Angels fans in the row above me, and these are like fair weather LA fans because they go to the game and they're all excited. And then by the 6th inning, like the sun is pounding down on us because we're in the right field, bleachers essentially, and we're in the stands. And like the mother of the group was like, "We have to go. The sun's too bright. We have to leave." In the 6th inning of this relatively close game, they get up and leave. It's so California, Christina.
I was going to say.
Could you imagine New Yorkers getting hit by the sun and being like, "Oh, we gotta leave"?
Yes.
Yeah, we'd be like, let's embrace, especially now, let's embrace the sun, right? But like, I was like, oh man, these Cali fans, they're a little soft. Wow. Not all of them.
Sounds
but I was
that way.
like, a little soft. So shots fired. Sorry, New York fans.
Wow.
Quite a bit tougher than the LA fans, if we're being honest. But great game.
People watching is the best, though. My dad used to get tickets from his job all the time for the Brooklyn Cyclones in Coney Island.
Yeah.
Hands down, the best people watching at a sporting event of my life. Like every time we would go, I would never watch the game. I would watch the people.
I've heard that park is really cool too. I never had the pleasure of going to a Cyclones game, but I heard it's really nice.
I haven't been in.
I
don't even know how long.
But I heard that's a great experience too. No, listen, it's fun. Like you said, going by yourself places, and I can't wait to hear your story. But by the end, I'll wrap up this story by saying by the end of the game, a couple of seats down, there was this rowdy group of, you know, younger guys, probably in their 20s or whatever, and they were real rowdy guys. And like one of them he just had that New York energy, and he's wearing the Yankees gear. Tons of Yankees fans there, of course.
Love it.
Yankees fans are well represented all around our great nation. So this guy starts talking to me because he sees I'm on my own or whatever. And so we start chatting, and he's from the Bronx. He's from down the road from Yankee Stadium. And
love it.
Lives out in Anaheim now. And I had a new buddy by the end of the night. It was great. So, you know, I go by myself, but I end up making friends. It was a good time. Yeah.
I love that for you, Kevin. That's awesome.
We had fun. Well, thank you. Yeah, we had a good time. So wait, what did you do? No, okay, I gotta ask you now. Where did you go by yourself? What happened?
Usually when I go to see a Marvel movie, it is a big group outing. Everyone wants to see the movies.
Yeah.
Not many people wanted to see this latest one, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. People were like very about it.
Yeah.
So there was 3 of us that were going. Like 2 days before, it was 3 people that were going.
Yeah.
Great. The day before, one person was like, you know what? I can't go. I really need to pick up a shift doing something else. Fine. I understand it. You're able to, when you get like stuff on Fandango, you're able to, you know, get a refund or a partial refund for a ticket. So I was like, I still have enough time. Let me refund his seat. So then 2 of us were going. 45 minutes before the movie, the other person bails on me. And I was like, I am like so far from where most people I know are right now. I was like, there's no way someone's going to get here in time. I texted a bunch of people.
It's brutal.
It was 7:11. The movie was 7:30. And I was like, you know, I have a coworker who loves to see movies, not the biggest Marvel fan. I was like, let me see if maybe he's still around. I went in his office. He wasn't there. I was like, man. So I sent him a text. I'm like, is there any chance? And then at like 7:15, he's like, what theater? I'm on my way. I was like, I didn't want to sit in the theater by myself. And I know people do it all the time, but I was like, I want to enjoy this. I'm also the person who, after the movie, I need to analyze things with you. So you need to be sitting next to me during the movie to analyze things.
Yes.
And I'm so glad that I reached out to that person, because he was having a terrible day. And he was so thankful that I even thought of him, that it made me feel 10 times better.
Isn't that really nice? That's so nice. Yeah. So it was a pick me up for him.
It was. And then that was a pick me up for me, because it made me feel great that I was able to do that. And like, then I was able to sit in the theater with someone that I know. So he was so appreciative of it. So,
and it's all about personal preference, right? Like your personal preference is to be accompanied by someone else, to have a friend, to have, you know, someone with you when you go to see a movie. Let me clarify. I said earlier, I felt like a loser when I was alone at the game.
You just don't feel right, you know.
You're not at all a loser. If you like doing things on your own, I think that's amazing, because it just shows. I mean, for one, it shows how comfortable people can be by themselves. And I think going to the movies in particular is a really fascinating one, because there are people who love to go to the movies with other people like you, but there's also people who love to go by themselves, because they can lock in. You don't have to worry about any other people. So it's all really just a matter of personal preference at the end of the day, right? I mean, that's what it comes down to. So
I think the only time I felt weird being by myself ever was when I was eating alone. That very first time I went to California, I went there by myself, and I met up with people in Hollywood. I met up with you. We did Santa Monica. We did Disneyland one day. But that first full day that I was in Disneyland, I was by myself. And I didn't mind it, because it was my first time ever seeing it. So I could walk around, do what I wanted to do. But every time I sat down to have a meal, that's when I was like, I miss like conversation. You know, like that's what I didn't feel weird, because it just felt weird not having a conversation. So I remember when I had dinner that night, I like FaceTime my family, because I was like, I feel like they're here.
And there's also something about like being in motion, being on the go, like you were all day in the park. But then when you really have a chance to like sit down, you're like, oh, I'm alone right now. And again, there's nothing wrong with being with doing things on your own. But it was fascinating for me, but you know what? After going to a ball game by myself once, I would do it again. I would do it again.
It was dope. Like, it's that initial, like, is it going to be weird going by myself? Like, but once you experience it, it's not that bad.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there's so much like fulfillment within the activity. Like I love sports so much, and I get so into it. It's like I really don't need anybody else there.
It's true.
I would just be yapping their ear off about what's going on in the game. So, you know, he's on third base right now, and there could be a sack fly, and they'd be like, all right, Kevin, shut up. I'm trying to watch the game, movies. You know? Yeah. But that's how it goes, right? Yeah. That's so funny.
That's me with the movie. But I'm so glad, because I was gonna wait till like this week to go, when like more people could go. But I was like, you know what? I really want to see this movie. I want to see it the first showing. I was like, I'm gonna go, and it's a good thing I did, because the next day I heard a spoiler alert. So I would have been
that's
annoyed.
that's the other big thing now is like with something like that, like you kind of need to you need to go sooner rather than later for fear of and social media just ruining everything. I mean,
everything.
Social media is great, don't get me wrong, but for that stuff it kind of sucks because it could ruin stuff you're really looking forward to. Yeah,
absolutely. Are you gonna see this movie? Do you plan on seeing this one?
This is very interesting. So I have roommates and they saw the movie and they told me, and I couldn't make it. I had work obligations. I had stuff going on the other night when they went to see it and they said it was great. So I would love to go see it. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I'll go see it by myself.
There you go.
Yeah.
People are either like raving about this one or like about it. I will say it does not feel like a Marvel movie.
Okay.
But it's a very well done film. But you do need to like recall things from the past with Marvel movies. Like they did a good job of sneaking in some of the earlier stuff, like because you see the trailer and you're like, how is this gonna tie into all these Marvel movies?
Right.
So they do like sneak little things in there, and you're like, they've been planning this movie for a long time, like ever since the first Iron Man, because the 10 rings is what kidnapped Tony Stark in the beginning and why he became Iron Man. So they've been planning this for a long time. So when you think about all that kind of stuff, you're like, this is very interesting to see this all play out now.
Let me ask you, sure, yeah. Let me ask you what might be the dumbest question I've ever asked on this podcast. And I've got a lot of dumb questions, but this might be my dumbest one. As a diehard Marvel fan, like, was it a bad thing that it did not have very much of a Marvel feel to it? And I ask that because it's like sometimes you get a different sort of thing, but it's refreshing. I mean, not to say that, you know what I mean? Like maybe it didn't have the Marvel feel, but maybe it had its own, like distinct feel enough so that you still were able to enjoy the film. I heard, and it's an Asian-led cast, right?
Yes.
And I heard they all do a terrific cast, which is like, that's so cool to see, by the way, is just to see the representation. I think that's amazing. But and it should be normal. It shouldn't even be something we're even talking about on here, truthfully.
Yeah.
But it's noteworthy, and that it's exciting, and that's really cool. I'm rambling. Was it a bad thing that it didn't have a Marvel feel for you anyway, I guess?
Yeah, it was, because
okay.
If it was just the movie on its own, I would have had a different, view going into it. For me, it did, like, I have to watch this one again because I can't really compare this to other Marvel movies because it didn't really have like a Marvel feel. And it makes more sense if you see the movie to understand that. It wasn't, I'm not saying it was a bad movie at all, but you remember like when Doctor Strange came out and you were like, well, this is very different.
Yes.
Doctor Strange always had a Marvel feel to me still. This one was just so different. The two end credit scenes though.
Oh, those were enticing. Okay. And there's two. There's two
of them. And there wasn't two for Black Widow. There was only one. So I didn't know how many there was going to be here. And it still blew my mind that so many people got up when the credits started. I was like, are you guys new here? Like, there's always end credit scenes.
Sounds like they might be new there. That sounds embarrassing for them. It sounds very embarrassing.
I know, especially because the first one was like, oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
The second one was like very fitting with the movie, which I feel like the two end credit scenes are always like continuing the movie, and the one is like where we're going next kind of a thing.
For sure. Okay.
So yeah, I recommend the movie though. I'm getting a bunch of texts as we're doing this from one of my friends who's currently just got out of the theater. Okay. And I mean, there's a lot of caps going on in these text messages.
Yeah.
Yeah, she seemed to love it.
Where okay, there's been 900 Marvel movies now. There have
25. This was the 25th.
25.
Yeah, this is the 25th one.
Can't be right. There's got to be 900.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
Right.
Okay, there's 25. You're like, are you questioning me on Marvel knowledge? You're like,
I know all that useless info, Kevin. Come on.
You Marvel amateur over there. You don't know anything about Marvel. Well, I don't know as much as you. But where would you, like, you don't have to give me a precise ranking.
Yeah.
I'm getting the vibe it's towards the bottom of the list in terms of where roughly where would you place this? Don't give me a precise number. We don't have to play this game right now. I know that's too involved, but
I honestly need to see it again because I really did enjoy the film, but when you compare it to some of these other films, I don't know. It's not at the bottom, but it's not at the top. I don't know.
So this
A
is
lot of
yeah.
I saw like big time movie reviewers and they put their ranking out. And out of 25 films, I saw it as number 16 on somebody's list,
Cool.
and I saw it as like 8 on somebody's list. I would not put it I definitely would not put it at 8. I don't know if I would put it at 16 either though.
Interesting. Okay.
That's a tough question. That's a
I
tough
know.
one for
Well,
me.
I'm here to ask the hard-hitting questions.
I think once you see
What I
it,
do.
the conversation will be very different with us. Like I
Yeah.
feel like you really need to see it. And I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give anything away.
No. Nor should you. I'm actually.
Like spoilers.
I want to watch it. Is it bad that I'm so lazy and like used to this post-COVID world that I was like, oh well, it's in theaters, but I could also watch it on streaming service, right?
A lot of people say that though. You
Nope,
can't.
you can't. Nope. And why not? Because ScarJo got her money. Is that why?
I have no idea. Although that's
we don't have
free.
to dive into that, but like
that's going to be free next month, Black Widow on Disney Plus. So if you haven't seen that yet, next month.
I have not. You'll be not at all surprised to learn that I've not seen that.
Yeah, but I kind of feel like you though, because there's that new Marvel show, What If? I haven't seen a single episode, and they're like 4 in. Yeah,
you're just dropping the ball over there. I know. What? Just because you work 7 days a week doesn't mean you can't watch a brand new series, Christina? Jeez. Question: You watch this? You watched the Suicide Squad yet? No, you didn't. I knew you didn't.
I did not.
I knew you didn't, and I just had to call you out because you always call me out for never watching the Marvel stuff, as you should, because I know how you feel about it. And I told you to watch this movie, you didn't watch it. I can't believe
you did. And so many people have told me to watch Cruella, which is now free on Disney Plus. I haven't even had the time to do that.
Here's the thing. I'm just giving you grief about the Suicide Squad. It's absolutely fine that you haven't watched it. I am pretty legitimately surprised to learn you have not watched Cruella. Cruella. I haven't watched Cruella. I haven't watched it either. I heard it was very good.
I heard phenomenal things, but it's just once something's over like 2 hours, I'm like, I don't want to start it when I get home from work, because even if it's fantastic, sometimes I fall asleep. I'm so drained that I fall asleep. So I also want to focus. I want to like pay attention. So tomorrow is Labor Day when we're filming this. So maybe tomorrow I'll have some time to watch it.
To stay on this movie train for a minute longer. I'm in complete agreement with you. Movies are just I think movies are too long. You know, I'm obsessed with The Sopranos. It's my favorite show of all time. And David Chase, who created that show, who's an absolute genius. I was watching an interview with him recently. He's getting ready. You know, they're promoting the brand new Sopranos prequel, The Many Saints of Newark, which is due out on HBO Max and in theaters in a month. I can't wait. I'm so freaking excited.
That's gonna do so well. Oh my gosh.
I can't wait. I'm gonna make you watch that. You don't have to. You don't have to have seen The Sopranos. You got to watch it, and we're gonna have an episode devoted to talking about this. I can't wait. It's with many spoilers. It's gonna be. I'm so excited. But he said in an interview, and he's like a genius, and I swear by everything this guy says. He said movies are just too long nowadays. He's like, to me, a movie doesn't need to be longer than 2 hours. Like, I understand there's exceptions or whatever, but he said, and I know that's not an absolute fact, but like, I more or less agree with it. I think there are some movies that obviously, they do need to be more than 2 hours, but I tend to lose interest, man. Like
it's so
I get tired. And we're so ADD. If it's like an hour 30 to 2 hours is like a sweet spot for me. I understand not every story can be told in that amount of time. Yeah. But I kind of need it. You know.
I totally agree. I look at a movie like Avengers Endgame. That needed to be over 3 hours.
That's fine.
That was fine.
That's an exception.
This Shang-Chi movie was like 2 hours, 13 minutes. It honestly could have been 2 hours. There was quite a few scenes that were very drawn out.
There you go.
But then again, I don't know what the producers and stuff, what goes through their head with why they have to keep certain things in, because also with a movie like that, you don't know if that part that was drawn out, is that going to be referenced like in another movie? So it's easy for me to say, but yeah, I totally agree with you, Kev.
I watched a movie last night, and we won't talk about this long. I watched True Romance. Quentin Tarantino wrote it. It's from 1993, and it stars, here's some 90s names for you. Christian Slater and Patricia Arquette are the leads.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, we're going back to the 90s, baby. And so I watched this movie, and I had seen bits and pieces of it years ago, but it has just a stacked cast. Like, those were big names, and they're still big names. Christian Slater, Patricia Arquette, great actor and actress. This movie had so many people in it. This movie had Dennis Hoffman. It had It had Christopher Walken. It had Brad Pitt. It had
Oh my
gosh! It
gosh.
had the late great James Gandolfini, who's my freaking hero. Who obviously
Speaking of The Sopranos,
that was his breakout. His breakout was True Romance, and he's menacing in it. It's a really it's Quentin Tarantino written, so you know it's weird because if Quentin's involved, it's a weird thing, and it's super dark. But man, I loved it. And guess the runtime of that movie, Christina? 2 hours on the nose.
Really?
I didn't even let you guess it. It was 2 hours on the nose.
Wow.
Perfect length of a movie. Yeah, there you go.
Huh. They don't make them like that anymore.
No, they don't.
Can we, before we get to our question, can we address the mustache in the room, Kevin? No,
we can't. Because, yeah, of course we can. So I'm growing out a mustache right now. Let me tell you why. It's not because it looks great, because it doesn't. It's because, so I found out some news this week that I went out, I work during the week. I have a normal, steady job, like most
people. Normal folk.
Like the normal folks, because
like
I am
norms.
one. But in between that, I get to put down audition tapes, and that's what everyone's doing now. They get to audition. I auditioned for a project, and a few weeks back, forgot about it, out of my mind. I'm like, didn't get it, whatever. And they emailed me this week, and they say, producers watched the tape. I really like Kevin. They'd like to put a pin in him, which is very exciting.
They'd like to put a pin in you. It sounds like
put a pin in you. Exactly. Ow, that hurts. Don't put a pin in me, please. So they put a pin in me, and basically this is actor slang for you don't have the job yet, but producers would like to see to it that you're going to be available for the entirety of like whatever window of time they give you in case they give you the job. So I could be one of 5 guys who has a pin. I could be the only guy. I don't know. That's what's agonizing about this. So I get this email late last week. I'm elated. I'm so excited. Obviously not gonna, can't talk about the project or anything, but very excited about the prospect of this fun little role. But I don't know if I got it yet. But it's like, but it's a show. But it's a show. Basically, the character I think would require or would look better or potentially worse, which could work for the character with a mustache. So I'm like, you know what? Until I find out if I got this offer for this role, I'm gonna grow this bad boy out, and then we'll see what happens. So
be prepared.
But I just think it's a funny thing to talk like as an actor. Obviously, please. Sorry, I've been
so many questions because I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
no, I'm rambling.
Yeah. They put a pin in you, and I'm assuming this is a thing that happens often for actors.
Yeah, it's happened to me before.
You can't take any other project because there's a pin in you.
No, I mean, unless they put out you can have, as an actor or actress, you could have multiple projects pin you at once, and the more in demand actors the more in demand actors than myself have had that happen. But yeah, you can't. You're committing to their time for to that window of time that they're setting aside. So yeah, right now I committed to a certain amount of time, and they might let me know, they might not. It's kind of just
nerve-wracking
up to them now. So yeah, I mean, I'll definitely reach out to my team next week and see if I got it or not. But it's fascinating because if you're not like one of the top dogs in the industry who just get offers, then you're auditioning, and this is the process of auditioning. It's very exciting when you get pinned for a project. But as an actor, it doesn't ensure that you got the part. So I think it's like, I don't think I've ever discussed it on this podcast before. I thought it would be like a fascinating thing for people to kind of gain insight into. But yeah, so I'm excited, but I'm kind of like trying to temper my excitement because I don't have the part yet, but I might.
So actors all the time get pinned for things. They don't get paid if they're pinned.
No.
Oof.
No. The other thing with like really in-demand performers is like they can get development deals. I've never had one of those. Like a network, let's say CBS, they could offer a development deal to an actor and say, we're going to work for the next year. We're going to sign him. We're going to pay him or her, and we're going to work to get them a project. But we have their rights. So like exclusively, they could have the rights to a performer for X amount of time. They pay them for that time, and in that time, they try to find a brand new show for them to be the lead of, a brand new project. So it's like that happens all the time too.
That must be nice.
Oh my God. I'm like, I want to get to that point. I want to kick back on the couch and get paid while other people look for work for me. Jeez, you kidding me? But
but
so
they can't do anything else in that time. Like
no, their
That's
rights
a little,
in that instance, their rights would exclusively be with Fox or CBS or whoever they have that deal with. That's something that happens within the industry. So it's like,
wow,
there's so many different facets of it that are just like the type of stuff that I never would have thought about before this. Obviously, it seems pretty cut and dry. You audition for something, you either get the part or you don't. But there's kind of gray areas in between that, which I think is kind of fascinating. So that's what I'm going through right now. I'm pinned.
Wow. And you're pinned for a while.
It's very uncomfortable. I wish they would unpin me. I wish they would unpin me and just give me the damn part.
If they unpin you, can you let us know? Because we're going to be on pins and needles until we know.
Oh man, we're so funny and awesome. I love us. Listen, I'm gonna let you know. I'll let you know if it goes down. But yeah, so it's good news. It's not like the best news, but it's good news, And at the end of the day, it's just encouraging. It's telling me that okay, whatever I'm sending in, like even if I'm just one of the choices and I'm not ultimately the choice, the way you have to look at it as a performer is that like you're doing the right thing. Like whether or not I get this part is going to come down to something minute, like, oh, they wanted to go with someone taller. Or, oh, they wanted to go with someone who just, doesn't look like Casper the Friendly Ghost, It's like, but that's the thing is like, I know I did a good job and that's just, you have to kind of trust that as you go along because there's so many aspects to the industry that you don't have control over. So anyway,
fascinating.
I thought I'd share that because I was like, this is a really unique thing, and I thought that it'd be kind of fun to talk about. So,
well, thanks for sharing, and good luck.
Welcome.
Everything's crossed for you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I hope you get to work soon. Okay, let's get to these questions. So I did this email question earlier this week on the air, just saying to people, what should our group theme, like our Walk 97.5 Halloween costume theme be? Because I'm struggling this year. All my partners in crime that used to help with the costumes before aren't there anymore. So I feel very much on my own here. Yeah. So Meredith wrote in and she says, Christina, I have 2 ideas for your Halloween costume group theme this year. Superheroes or villains and Schitt's Creek, which I do like the Schitt's Creek theme a lot, but I don't know. I think I have too many people for it. I think I might. Okay. I don't know. I have to look into that. But the
I love that. Yeah.
I do love that. Yeah. The superheroes one, there's not a lot of female costumes that I would want to wear for superheroes, so gonna probably pass on that. But the Schitt's Creek one we might play with. But she also said in this email, what would you and Kevin say is the best costume you ever had? So I kind of want to take it another level because I'm assuming she's talking about Halloween costumes. Let's mention a Halloween costume and maybe a costume you had to wear for work. So maybe like something on stage or maybe on screen or a movie or something. So give me a Halloween costume and then one for like a costume for work.
Okay, I'm going to cop out for the Halloween stuff. Anyone who knows me knows that I apply the bare minimum effort to costumes. I am
out of character for you.
I'm the Jim Halpert of the real world, where he's like, yeah, I'm what's like Steve or whatever. He puts the name tag on, or yeah. So Dave. I think what's that, Dave? Thank you. Dave, is that I think it is Dave. It definitely wasn't Steve. I don't know. Well, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, it was probably Dave. So the last couple I'm so lazy, in fact, that the last couple of Halloweens I've just put on the same shirt, and I might just do it every year. It might just become a yearly thing. Oh. Which is, and I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but it's Charlie Brown. I have a Charlie. Oh, that's perfect. I have a Charlie Brown shirt, and I go out and about, and I wear the Charlie Brown. So much so that there's a woman who works at one of my favorite places to go and grab a drink or go grab a bite. She works there. She saw me in the Charlie Brown shirt. She loved it so much that she only calls me Charlie. And I know for a fact that this girl, she just doesn't know my real name. She does.
Oh my gosh.
I've been like, oh, the real name's Kevin, but you can call me Charlie. So now I walk in.
Charlie.
I walk in the place, and this girl, she's like, Charlie. She calls me Charlie because of Charlie Brown.
But she can also call you Charlie because you were on Good Luck Charlie.
She might, but I don't think she's ever seen me on Good Luck Charlie. I don't think she knows any of my acting stuff. She knows me as the local buffoon who comes in for a drink. Oh. And so like, but she calls me Charlie, and it's kind of an affectionate nickname amongst friends now. But like, she's not my friend, but you know what I mean. So Charlie Brown is my answer, my long-winded answer. I'm thinking back to like professionally with the acting. The favorite, one of my favorite things that I ever got to do was for that crazy Andy Dick movie that I did years ago called Division III Football's Finest.
I forgot about that.
Which you could watch for free on Amazon Prime if you're so inclined.
Drop that.
It's on there. Watch it. It's one of the funniest things I've ever been a part of. It was legitimately funny. I got to play a football player in that. So like at the end of the movie, I'm on the football team. So
like that.
Getting to put the pads on and like toss the football. They didn't let me like do my stunts and get tackled because I'm so small. Like I probably would have been killed. But like I'm a little dainty. But they let me throw the football. Like I got to toss around the football in the gear. That's probably my favorite there. So I would say Charlie Brown, and I would say professionally getting to be a football player in Division III Football's Finest. How about you, Christina? What's your answer here?
So I'm more complicated with mine because I'm the total opposite with you. As you know, I like go all out for my costumes. Literally above me is my costume closet in my attic. And
you actually try. You put in effort.
I do. I try too much. So I have so many. I think like Halloween costume wise, my family and friends, there was 8 of us. We went down to Walt Disney World a couple years ago and we did like all the classic Disney characters and I got to be Goofy, and it was like a handmade costume that me and one of my best friends made. So I think I'm gonna have to say that, and if I can find a picture I'm gonna insert it here. So I think that would probably be like Halloween costume wise one of my favorites because it was such a great memory.
Nice, I love it.
But for work,
it's gotta be work.
I do a lot, like I get to be like the fairy godmother and like princesses and stuff, but I think maybe I'll go with when they dress me up in the haunted houses for Gateway. And like they put all that like dope makeup on, and like even though in the moment I hate it because it takes forever to get that stuff off.
It's a process, yeah.
Yeah, I probably that because that stuff is like insane the way they make me look. Like I can't even look in the mirror. I'm terrified.
I remember when we discussed that. How long ago was that? That was
I do that every year.
But when did we first talk about it on here? Like 2 or 3 years ago, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for a while, but yeah. And like sometimes they're like they want to put stuff in your eyes, and I'm like, nope, we're not doing that this year. But it's like depends on the theme, and like they started kind of telling me because I was just there to see Newsies, which I thought of you.
Yes.
I ran into the director who does Gateway's Haunted Playhouse every year, and he was like telling me the ideas this year. So I was like, I'm excited.
I gotta be honest with you. Ever since you told me you got to do that, I was jealous of you because that's something that I was like, that's something I would want to do. Like go out and scare people and stuff. And it's so fun and it's so interactive. I mean, it's sad that in a post-COVID world, like people are probably nervous about doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little nervous about being inside a house, not because like being scared, but I just don't know how close people are going to be. It's like half indoors, half outdoors, and like the outdoor part this year is in your car, which I got to do last year. I got to like do the narration for it and stuff, and like they made me be like a crazy person for it.
In your car? What?
Yeah, it's like you drive through the first part and then I guess you park and you get out. I don't know. I didn't go last year. I just like voiced, like they got a bunch of actors to like voice the things last year. So I did that part.
Yes.
But this year I'll be back inside scaring, and I'm a little nervous. I don't know like how that's going to be. I
imagined when you said in your car that like people got in your car and popped out the back seat and frightened you, and I'm sorry.
Terrifying.
I'm sorry. I don't know why I said that. I was like,
that is terrifying.
But wouldn't that be way scarier than like what
it would be?
How they did it? I mean, well, you can't.
I think you like
you also
down.
Legally can't do that.
Well, I don't know how that is too, because like if people are like scaring you and you're in a moving vehicle, that could end real bad. Like
I think it's a good idea, like in theory, but in execution, probably kind of difficult to pull off. Hey, listen, I'm sure it'll go great this year.
I'll keep you posted.
please. I'm really excited to hear about how it goes. Yeah. And that's a great answer. Like that has to be like, that had to be such a Halloween highlight for you being able to do that.
Oh my gosh. Every year. And like
every year you get to do it. Yeah.
There are times where like, do I want to do it again? And then like you get there and like the energy and like being on the inside is so much better than walking through it, because that terrifies me. That gives me nightmares. So like being on the inside knowing everything is like
I haven't been to one of those in years, but I love walking through those houses.
I
Like,
wish you would come home for this. Like, I wish I could scare you.
I know, because you're right. It is scary as hell, but like, it's so fun. It's such a rush.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I remember going like 18, 19, going with my, with friends. I don't know where on the island, but I remember going when I was still in New York, and we just had such an amazing time. Like, so much fun. Yeah.
And it's so fun for us too, because there's like, when people walk through, you're like, all right, what do you want me to get them? A code green, code yellow, or code brown? So a code yellow would be make them pee their pants. Code brown would make them poop. And code green would be make them vomit. So sometimes like people make bets inside the house, like I'm gonna get this many yellows tonight, this many. Yeah. I never do that because I'm not that scary, but these actors in their costumes are like legit.
These actors are sick-minded individuals. I promise you, I'm gonna be the one to make the most people poop their pants tonight. That's gross. What is going on in these haunted houses? No, I actually think that's really funny. I'd do the same thing if I was one of them. That's pretty cool.
It's awesome. So hopefully one year I can scare you inside the house, Kevin. That would be great.
Never. No, I don't scare. I've been in LA for like 13 years. I don't scare easily anymore. I'm pretty jaded now. I've seen some frightening individuals out here. Okay,
that's very true. That's at the Yankee game the other day.
I saw plenty of them. Yeah, thankfully most of them left by the 5th inning. I had the whole stadium to myself. Just me and the other real fans. Yeah. So,
oh my gosh, amazing.
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, we got to go because I have to pack. I'm going to Disney in just a couple of days, so we'll have lots to talk about on the next episode of K and Kev. Until then, be well, Kev. Text me if you see Shang-Chi, and I'll let you know when I see Suicide Squad.
Oh, sounds like a plan. Okay.
Which will be weeks from now.
I'll hear from you in 3 years then. Great. Okay.
Ditto. Have a great week, guys.